Are you a movie buff? Do you love dissecting and analyzing your favorite films? Look no further than the Projection Booth podcast. Join host Mike White and a bevy of guest experts as they explore the history, themes, and legacy of cult classics, obscure gems, and mainstream hits. Join us every week for a unique and engaging look at your favorite movies. So sit back, grab some popcorn, and tune in to the Projection Booth podcast, available on all major podcast platforms.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Cambridge and Rashawn is a Weirding Way Media podcast.
Why don't you get a job, Spicoli?
What for?
You need money.
All I need are some tasty waves, cool buzz, and I'm fine. Thanks. Can I use your bathroom?
Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Cambridge and Washawn, a podcast where two weird guys talk about their weird interests.
Speak for yourself, Ron.
I'm excited about today's subject matter. It's a little bit out of left field in a way because of a variety of reasons that I'll not reveal yet.
I agree.
I'm stoked.
That's appropriate.
I know, right? You like that? I was planning that. I wrote that down in the notes.
Oh, gnarly!
My name's Ronnie, or Skelevator, if you know me on Instagram and YouTube. And I'm here with my pal, Mark.
I'm Mark Bagley, the host of Wake Up Heavy Recollections of Horror, as well as the co-host of this dang show. This bodacious, gnarly episode.
Awesome!
Rad.
It's gonna be sick, dude.
It's gonna be totally sick. Yeah. I was trying to think just now of some of the weird language in what I'm going to be talking about, but I couldn't come up with it because it's just like so crazy.
And Tony was doing Jelly Mambo, sex change burial, and kickflip ollies. No, yeah, you're messed up.
Yeah, there's a great clip I'm planning on using in here.
Please do. It's so good.
Twanked and danked.
And we'll get to that when you talk about it. But yeah, there was one particular clip that I really enjoyed.
There are a few moments. Anyways, we'll get into that.
We'll get into all that.
Do you have any corrections or amendments to last episode?
Because I'm anal and I don't want to misrepresent the things that we're talking about or seem like I don't know what I'm talking about, although I shouldn't really worry about that because, as we've said, some of this stuff we might not nail down the facts, but the Mush and Milk episode of Little Rascals.
Oh, yeah.
That part where the kid says,
"It must be my lucky day,"
does take place in a classroom. I had watched bits and pieces of it before we recorded, and most of what I watched occurred around this long table where they're eating the mush and milk at this orphanage. But there is a scene in a classroom with this old guy asking them the questions, and Spanky's kind of sitting right next to him, helping him. And I think that's why there's confusion about that amongst other people, thinking it takes place in their regular classroom with Mrs. Crabapple. And then shortly, I think I was trying to find stuff on W.C. Fields for your part of that conversation. Just so happened that a picture popped up on my Google search of David Copperfield, which is the movie that I had just recently seen him in on TCM.
There you go.
Where he plays Macabre in the 1935 version of David Copperfield. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I wouldn't have remembered that. And it's not an overtly comedic role or anything, and he's just kind of normal in it.
I mean, that character kind of fits his character traits. It's definitely not as comedic as other stuff.
It's not like the stuff like The Dentist, like you were talking about. And then the only other thing that I have, which is pretty cool, and I'm going to give that a shout out to one of my online friends, Jeff Lamb, and I told him I'd be doing this. He posted recently on his Instagram page a picture of a bunch of his cereal mascot vinyl figures. And I was like, oh, hey, we talk about this on the latest episode of my other podcast. And he's like, oh, let me know when it comes out. And I said, I definitely will. So that all happened. And he was letting me know that he was listening and enjoying it. And then a little while later on Instagram, he sent me a message with a picture attached. And he said, is this what you guys were talking about on your podcast? It's a picture of a Fruity Pebbles box with a big ad on the back for a crazy rock ball.
Yeah.
Inside this box, one plastic rock ball, and it has a picture. And of course, one of the pictures, and I love it when they do this, says, actual size.
Yeah.
And there's a couple different colors. There's like a brown one and a gray one. And I don't know if that's supposed to be the gray one or if there was a blue one as well. I said, holy shit, yes, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So he mentioned that someone had posted it on one of the vintage toy pages on Facebook. Went over there. It's a private page, but it's run by the guy that does Plaid Stallions.
Oh,
which
yeah,
I think a lot of people know about. If they're into any kind of vintage toys, they know Plaid Stallions. And so I didn't join and hop into the conversation, but I probably will eventually. And then he came back and said there was a commercial for it too. So I went over to YouTube and watched the commercial. And like many things that I bring up on here, my memory wasn't quite right. It's not a blow mold hollow figure. It's a bouncy ball. So it's like a super ball, but since it has ridges and indentations and stuff, it bounces in all kinds of different directions.
Yeah. Love it.
I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you found that.
That's so cool.
So I don't know if my memory is just totally wrong or if at some point they made one that was like a hollow blow mold version of that. And then I had a thought, I'm like, wait a minute, because I had mentioned maybe I was confusing it with the inside of a golf ball.
Oh, yeah, right.
And I thought, now wait, I think I have one still in my drawer where I thought I had my Garfield pencil topper, which apparently I didn't. So I went and looked 2 days ago, and there it was, the inside of the golf ball that I had. I've probably had it for 45 years.
That's incredible.
I was like, why did I save that? And I looked at it, and I'm like, yeah, this looks like one of those balls on the package. Not quite as seriously indented, but even on that commercial when I watched it, I was like, yeah, that looks like the inside of a golf ball.
Number one, it's amazing that you have that still after all these years. But also, one of the great things about the community of people that are interested in this weird shit is that they'll reach out. They got the information. They'll let you know if they somehow find out that you're looking for it. I love that. Out of all the human beings on this planet, there's this small group of people interested in this weird stuff. They will find a way to connect if they know that you're interested. And that's amazing.
I said, well, you solved the unsolvable one for me, because I was thinking I made that up whole cloth. So thanks, Jeff. And the next step is finding one, I guess.
Yeah, just keep searching for rock balls.
For a hot minute, I thought, you know what? I'm going to go on. I'm going to find that inside of that golf ball. And it's not going to be the inside of the golf ball. It's going to be the rock ball that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But no.
Well, what would be really interesting is if we found out that the rock balls were just repurposed insides of golf balls that they were just selling to kids.
I thought that for a second, and I'm like, well, this thing doesn't really bounce very well. I mean, it's old and really hard now and has some cracks in it. I had that thought and I bounced it and it just barely bounces up and down. Yeah. I thought, they're taking the stuff that they use to make golf balls and repurposing them.
The rock ball conspiracy. That's cool.
That was a nice surprise.
Do you like my Flintstone cereals, Barney? Fruity Pebbles taste like a bowl of noisy fruit, Flint. And Cocoa Pebbles are Cocoa Moco good. Yeah, and there's a free rock ball inside. Looks like a rock, acts like a ball. Flintstone cereals, free rock ball. Get a rock ball free, get a free rock ball. Rock, 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 free rock ball. In Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles now. One rock ball free in each specially marked box of Post Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles.
Well, I don't really have any amendments or changes to my information from the last episode, but I do want to say that, folks, you got to go watch W.C. Fields movies. After we recorded that episode, I went and watched a few more things on YouTube, and I'm just like, this guy was way ahead of his time. I know we emphasized that a lot when I was talking about him. I just want to say it again. Like, W.C. Fields is now, in my opinion, probably one of the greatest comedic minds. Go watch that stuff. That brings us to today's episode. Mark, what is your first item to discuss?
Well, it's more of a phase than one particular item. And I know how it started because it started with a movie. Pretty well know when it ended. Didn't last too terribly long. But it was a pretty deep pull for me.
Yeah.
The summer of 1982 might possibly be the greatest summer in all of film history, as far as I'm concerned. The Thing, Blade Runner, E.T., Poltergeist, just to name a few. Tons of horror movies. It's crazy when you go and look at the list of 1982 movies on Wikipedia. Just scroll through the list of titles. Right. Of course, that's the whole year, but many of the biggest movies of my life and some of the biggest movies, just as far as box office and all that, came out that year. And biggest flops that turned into beloved classics like The Thing and Blade Runner.
Yes.
One movie that came out that ended up creating a huge stir was Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh, yeah.
You guys had shirts on when you came in here.
But something happened to him, man.
I was 13 when all of this stuff came out. So it was perfect age for most of those movies because they were PG and I could go see them. This one obviously was not. I just remember the buildup for it and the commercials and the promotion and the ads. It was sort of particular to California because it wasn't even going to be released anywhere else.
Oh, really?
Until preview audiences were just going bananas for it. So right. I kind of vaguely remember this from maybe not when it came out, but not too long after that. Like, it rolled out across the country and just caused a massive stir in the culture, and surf culture became a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
It's a way of looking at that wave and saying, hey, bud, let's party.
And so those commercials and ads with Jeff Spicoli, with Sean Penn as Jeff Spicoli, really, really put the whammy on me and brought that surf style to the forefront in my head. And of course, so I'm 13 and I'm already shuffling off those childhood obsessions. Comic books, action figures, and things like that get put aside for surfing magazine, girls, movies, and apparel.
Yeah.
I mean, it really comes down to that's really all that kids in the Central Valley could get. So just to dispel myths about California, we don't all live on the coast. We don't all have wonderful weather. We don't all surf or skate. I know most people get that, but I also still kind of hear things like people think that California weather is just temperate all year long. We are looking at 112 degrees today for the high.
Yes. I work at Fresno State, and every semester we get international students or people traveling from across the country to come to school at Fresno State. And I talk to them at events and I say, so how do you like Fresno so far? And their first response always is, well, it's not quite what I expected of California. I do the whole dance and pony show, dog and pony show, where I'm telling them, oh, well, you know, the ocean is only 2.5 hours away. The mountains are only an hour and a half away. You know, you get it all. You just have to go there.
I was going to mention that, you know, you and I live in the Central Valley of California, cradled between two huge mountain ranges. There are mountains here in California.
Yep.
Like you said, the coast is 2 hours away.
Yeah.
But it's also where many Fresnans and other people from the valley vacation a lot. Even when I was a kid, we would go stay with some family friends who had a house in Cayucas and always loved that. I have relatives that always lived in the Newport Beach area.
Yeah.
So those trips were always special, and they kind of fueled this. Fast Times came out in California in July of '82. One of my elementary school friends had just moved to San Luis Obispo from here. I think he had moved there at the beginning of our 7th grade year, and I had gone off to private school at that point. So me and another one of his friends, he wasn't really my friend, although I knew him pretty well, we went for a week and stayed at his house in San Luis and went to the beach every day. I was hoping on that trip that we were somehow going to be able to get into that movie.
Oh, yeah.
We went and saw E.T. instead. I don't think his mom was up for taking 3 13-year-old kids to go see Fast Times, just because of the ads and everything. Checkerboard vans, all the surf stuff. So luckily, because of the movie, probably, and that zeitgeist of, oh, this is a thing, there was a surf shop in Fresno, at least one. Guess where it was located, folks? It was located on Kings Canyon and Clovis Avenue, very near where I lived and where we did all of our shopping and most other things. The Sunnyside Surf Shop was over, I believe, close to the Sunnyside Deli, and there was a Baskin and Robbins over there.
Oh, yeah.
And so once I discovered that, that was what I focused my energy on. Comic books were gone, action figures were gone, and it was all about, I would say the biggies for me were Gordon and Smith, or GNS, Town and Country.
Oh, yeah.
Surf Designs, and Mr. Zog's Sex Wax.
Absolutely.
A couple of those were cheeky little double entendres. Obviously, Mr. Zog's Sex Wax, the best for your stick. Kind of pushing the envelope there. And I never dared get a shirt, although I wanted one badly because Spicoli wears one in parts of that movie. One of the best parts of the movie, actually, when they go to the to watch the I just blanked on the word. They go to the hospital.
You're pulling a Ronnie right now.
I know. I'm like, why can't I think the autopsy? Gee whiz.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gnarly!
I did buy cakes of wax, though.
That's so funny. I did, too. What would it do? Just sit on the... It's so funny for us. Like, we're not going out waxing up our surfboards and getting in the ocean. So it's just sitting on the shelf. And then in Fresno summers, that thing starts to slump down and get all melty. Yeah.
It smelled like coconut, which is one of my favorite smells. Yeah. I'm a coconut lover. I know that there are people out there who absolutely hate coconut, but I absolutely love coconut.
Yeah, I love it too.
I love the smell of coconut. There's other scents of sex waxing and raspberry and stuff like that. I would buy cakes of that to have in my room, and stickers were the other thing. So it was clothes and stickers and accessories. I am a poser, or was the biggest poser. Wasn't the only one though. I mean, everybody was wearing surf stuff and skate stuff back then, but I haven't surfed a second of my life. I've boogie boarded and I've body surfed. And actually on that trip to San Luis way back when, we body surfed like all day long at Avila Beach. His mom just dropped us off in the morning and would pick us up in the evening.
Yeah.
It was a blast.
That's so much fun.
The shirts and shorts and clothes became like the thing. Town and Country was a bit cheeky too because their logo was a flip-flopped yin yang symbol. When you flip-flop the yin yang symbol, it turns from 96 to 69. So, you know, wink wink.
I love those TNC shirts with the surfing gorilla. What was the gorilla's name?
I don't know, but I just looked at a whole bunch of them because I was looking at vintage stuff. I'm very tempted and probably will buy they have the one that just has the logo on the front and back. But I probably had like, who knows how many TNC shirts, Gordon and Smith shirts. What else? Trying to think. Like, I was never a Maui and Sons guy. I didn't like their logo design. It was all aesthetics. And the GNS logo was the like bubbly letters. Loved it.
What about Santa Cruz?
Santa Cruz I never got into.
They're a skate company, but you know, a lot of the surfers would wear that stuff.
And those are pretty iconic. Is it Jim Phillips?
Oh yeah.
That did the Screaming Hand. It's interesting. There's a donut place in San Luis Obispo, in Pismo Beach, right now, that we discovered on one of our trips a few years back, and that has a really cool logo. And I was like, oh, and it's not him, but it's his brother. Did all their logos, and they're really super cool. Called Surfside Donuts.
Nice.
And their donuts are awesome too. So
there you go.
If you're ever over in Pismo, hit them up.
The artist is Jimbo Phillips, the son of Jim Phillips.
There was Surfer Magazine and there was Surfing Magazine. And I think I ended up getting a subscription to Surfing Magazine. For some reason, I preferred that one. I preferred one of them, and I can't really remember which one now. And I tried to look up old issues of it online just to see if any covers or the logo struck my memory, but they didn't really. The only real reason to get the magazine was for the ads and the pictures of girls.
Definitely. 100%. Yeah.
See a new ad for GNS or whoever. Quicksilver was kind of up there, more for their shorts and stuff. When I was a kid growing up, I got my cousin who lived in Newport. I got a lot of his hand-me-downs. The old OP corduroy shorts.
Yes.
So I had those when I was a kid, and I wasn't obsessed with surf stuff at that time, but I had that and OP or Hang 10.
Thank you for reminding me of the OP corduroy shorts, man.
Yeah.
I had forgotten about those. I wonder if they're still making them.
I think you can still get them. They go in and out.
Yeah.
It was either OP or Hang 10 were exclusively selling stuff through Walmart a while back, but they all have web stores now, and I want to say you can get the shorts. Quicksilver had very similar shorts too. I remember wearing those later on. Hang 10 with the two little feet. OP was a very simple logo, but cool.
I love that stuff too. The colors. I mean, you're not even mentioning the bright fluorescent colors that that was such a big part of the attraction to me to those styles too, were the bright colors.
Oh yeah, neon all over the place.
Yes.
Especially those Town and Country. A lot later, mid to late 80s.
Yep.
Were bathed in neon colors.
Yeah, beautiful.
We had a kid who I think was a grade above us. And so I was 8th and I think he was 9th grade. And he was from Hawaii and was a surfer and kind of looked down a little. He was brave enough, and this was a private school, to wear a Mr. Zog's sex wax shirt to school. But I think he could always wear something over it. I am happy to say, though. Oh, well, I'll get into that later. That'll be my second part.
All right.
Yeah, so Sunnyside Surf Shop, which later morphed into either Wavelengths or SBI, and we'll get into all that too. But I think for a minute there on that corner, just east of Clovis on Kings Canyon, it might have changed. Short-lived, I think by 86, 87, I was moving on to other things like more music and movies, stuff that would really last through most of college. Surf stuff didn't really continue on until fairly recently, which I will get into in the second part.
this stuff never really leaves us, right? I mean, it comes back because we see something and then we're like, oh, that. And then we want to get back on the surfboard, so to speak. Or for me, the skateboard.
I just want to mention probably one of the reasons, although I think I would feel safer on a surfboard. I have horrible balance, or I imagine I have horrible. It took me forever to learn how to ride a bike without training wheels.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know exactly how old I was, but the little girl across the street from us where I used to live, I saw her, and I think she was 3 or something, scooting around without training wheels, and I was like, oh shit, man. I went out and immediately took mine off and got motivated to do it. I have awful balance, which is one of the reasons I haven't tried to surf.
Right.
Falling into water doesn't scare me nearly as much as falling onto asphalt, which is why I don't skate either.
Yeah.
So that was my segue for you.
Well, that's a good segue. And it's funny because I think I just thought of this as you were talking. The name of this episode should probably be Surf and Turf because your obsession was surfing and the ocean, and my obsession was very similar and very hot in the mid 80s, just like surfing was, skateboarding.
Only tough guys know how to ride the hot rod skateboard.
Skating for me was something I definitely engaged in. I was never as good as my friends that were doing it, but I was trying. Like, I was always out there trying. And I was pretty good at ollieing and
man, that's shit.
Riding street skating was my obsession. I felt like there was something really cool about just using what was in front of you. Also, I didn't have the means to be building skate ramps, even though I always wanted to do something like that. And back then you could be driving around the Central Valley and occasionally see a half pipe in somebody's backyard. That was a really remarkable era. I was all about the street skating, and I got heavily into it. And it's funny, there's a lot of correlations here. The same thing happened for me. It was like around maybe 84, I started to, I would say maybe closer to 85. The 84 was in my periphery, but I was still interested in toys and stuff. And around 85, 86, especially 86, for some reason, I have a lot of memories of getting really deep into it. Almost immediately glommed onto the Bones Brigade team, Lance Mountain, Tommy Guerrero, Steve Caballero, Tony Hawk, and Mike McGill, and Rodney Mullen. Those guys were heroes to me. Other skaters outside of Powell Peralta were always cool too. But for some reason, for me, I was like a dedicated fan of Tommy Guerrero and Lance Mountain. And I think Lance Mountain for personality, but Tommy Guerrero for style. Future Primitive came out in 85. That was the Powell Peralta video that came out right before The Search for Animal Chin, which is the primary focus of what I want to talk about today. But I was introduced to Tommy Guerrero in Future Primitive, and that's where I was like, oh man, that guy's great. Plus his board was super cool. It was like a flaming dagger, and I loved that design. In retrospect, I'm 95% sure that I was more attracted to that board design because of Masters of the Universe and the Power Sword.
By the power of Grayskull!
And of course the skulls too, the Bones t-shirts. My wife just got me one for Father's Day. I will still always love that design. And again, in retrospect, I'm fairly confident it's because of Skeletor that I love that skull design popping out of the shirt. To make a long story short, I wanted to talk about, just like you began your obsession with Fast Times at Ridgemont High with surfing, I really got in deep with skateboarding in 87 when I was really getting out there and skating a lot. And The Search for Animal Chin came out. It was an epic event. It incorporated the stuff that came before, which was just a straight ahead skate video, but it also had a plot. Right before that came out, in 86, the movie Stand By Me came out, and the movie Thrashin' came out. And I just rewatched it again. I think I watched The Search for Animal Chin about once a year. For some reason, I just noticed that they dig at Thrashin' a little bit because almost all of those guys showed up in that movie, Thrashin'. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's not very good. It's pretty bad. It was right in the middle of the era of skateboarding becoming fashionable. And what's his name? The guy from No Country for Old Men and Goonies.
Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin. He's the lead in it. Mike McGill, I think it's Mike McGill, plays his stunt double. His skateboarding stunt double. This movie comes out. It's a story. It's like these kids on a search for this guy named Animal Chin. I mean, we can get into the problematic interpretations of Chinese culture in this movie, but
when I saw the name and some of the images, I thought, oh, this is going to be bad.
Yeah, it's nothing overtly negative.
Yeah.
You can tell that they're trying to... I mean, in a way, they're like, well, this hero is Chinese, and he's sort of like this symbol of inner peace and the ultimate skateboarder, and he's a mystery and all that stuff. And I kind of thought, well, they're trying to honor this concept, but the movie didn't have to have the synthesizer. I'm doing air quotes right now, Chinese music.
Yeah.
They didn't have to go to Chinatown looking for it. And it's pretty embarrassing. And they'll all speak up on this too. I mean, it's embarrassing in retrospect.
The images of him, he's got the big Chinese hat on and the Fu Manchu mustache and beard. But that's about as quote-unquote bad as it gets.
It could have been worse.
English,
Yeah, they could have pulled a Mickey Rooney with him, but they didn't.
Right.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
So I accept it.
Overtly stereotyped, because we never see him. Spoilers for anybody that was about to watch. We never really... There's a shadow of him at one point, and the missing posters or the missing image on the milk carton, and that's about it.
Yeah.
The music and the use of kanji and stuff is, bordering on appropriation, but nothing really overtly, like you said, no one's doing a Mickey Rooney, no one's speaking in English or anything like that.
Oh, thank goodness. There are moments in that movie where you think, oh, they could go there, and they didn't. Thank goodness. It's coming out right around Big Trouble in Little China, and stuff like that was showing up in our culture. And I guess the attempt at being inclusive is happening in a way. For some reason in the 80s, our attempts at inclusivity just really ends up still kind of showing up as caricatures.
They're a little ham-fisted.
Yes, exactly. At the same time, the movie definitely, every time I watch it, it strikes a nostalgic chord for me. The clothing style is a very close cousin of surf style.
T-shirts and shorts.
T-shirts and shorts and torn T-shirts and fluorescent colors, bright colors, neon colors. Branding is huge. Vision streetwear, Powell Peralta. Skaters were wearing GNS and wearing TNC, and skaters were wearing OP and all that stuff, and Vans and Converse and even Nike a little bit.
Saw a lot of Nikes, yeah. Got to get those high tops for your ankles.
There's a couple references to Air Jordans in that movie. And the reason why I brought up Stand By Me is like there's this narrative of their search, and especially at the end, they're like sitting around the campfire, and the narrator is, I think the narrator's Johnny Rad at this point. And he's like the rock and roller guru that shows up mid-movie.
Hey, welcome to the Blue Tile Lounge. I'm your host, Johnny Rad.
From mid-movie on, he's the narrator, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it is, because I found that odd. I'm like, oh, we have a narrator now.
Yeah, after his appearance.
Yeah.
Johnny Rad's hilarious, so over the top. The movie Animal Chin planted a lot of seeds for me. Right around that time, I was discovering Natas Kaupas. And Natas Kaupas is my second favorite street skater. So it's Tommy Guerrero and Natas Kaupas for me. So they were like my two favorite skaters. And Natas Kaupas was, in a way, an edgier skater. He wasn't Powell Peralta, but he shows up in that movie in the club. There's like a brief glimpse of him in the background. As a kid getting into skating and knowing all these people, I was like, oh my God, there's Natas in there. The big thing with Natas is that you spell his first name backwards, and it's Satan. That was his given name, and I believe he's Norwegian or something like that. I feel like I could convene with my friends, my fellow skaters. We could talk about Animal Chin. Animal Chin was a source of inspiration for people who were building ramps. So that ramp at the end was this epic ramp with a secret passageway and double half pipe. Pretty amazing.
That was pretty cool, I gotta say.
For someone who was obsessed with fort building and cardboard box building stuff as a kid, moving into that, looking at how creative people could be with skate ramps, that ramp in particular was phenomenal. During that last segment, you really get to see how good these guys are at their craft. There's a video that came out right before the pandemic of those guys all getting together, and someone built a replica of the ramp. They all got together and they did the same moves, in their 40s, almost 50s. Yeah.
They're all a little bit older than me. Tony Hawk, who was the youngest from my reading on this, and he is a little less than a year older than me.
They did it again.
That's awesome.
In their old age. Air quotes again. Old age.
50-something's pretty old.
It's pretty,
especially for skating.
I know. Well, and so
I break my neck on the table.
Oh my gosh. So I took up skating again about late 2012 when I moved back to the Central Valley. I started skating again. I would go around to the parks.
I remember that.
Around 2013, late 2013, I had a hard fall and my wife was like, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. Please don't do that. So I haven't done it since.
Skate Betty? She didn't go out there and sit and watch you?
I was getting started when we were dating, and she's like, I don't know, dude. I was 38, getting back into skating, and
that's nothing.
It was fun. And then just, had a couple hard falls and had a hard time recovering. Back when I was a kid, I would recover in a couple of days. I never broke any bones, thank goodness, knock on wood. The last fall, I was like, oh man, I may have broken something. I didn't go get it checked out, of course, like an idiot.
I look at a skateboard and I fall. So it's something that I've always wanted to take up. And I'm sure I could get the hang of it after about a year.
Yeah.
Every time I step on one, it basically just flies out from underneath my feet. My balance is just so... I don't know if it's my actual balance or if it's a mind thing.
Yeah.
But just that, 2 inches off the ground, and it feels like my center of gravity is at my knees. I just can't, I'm like totally top heavy and I just can't. I almost bought, what are those? The plastic ones?
Oh, yeah.
Penny?
Yeah, the penny
skateboards. When we would go into Wavelengths / SBI out at River Park, I'd always look at those because I just love the colors of them.
Yeah.
Just buy one just to have one. And I kind of would try to push Cleo, interested in skateboarding?
Yeah.
It might give me a reason to actually give it a shot.
Our daughters get into it. They've gotten into it a couple times, but they haven't stuck with it.
I watched Search for Animal Chin this week and really enjoyed it. I think I didn't care too much, or the Las Vegas stuff with
Johnny Rad.
Johnny Rad was probably a little long for me.
Yeah, it is.
Let me tell you guys something. First of all, no one's more into finding Animal Chin than the Rad Man. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, most of the skate segments were really cool.
Yeah.
That opening in Hawaii in the Wallows, which I guess is a ditch. It looked like an aqueduct to me.
Yeah, it is.
An empty one, obviously. But I was like, oh my God, I couldn't even imagine like walking down that thing.
Yeah.
Let alone skating down. I really appreciate skate culture.
Yes.
When they were in San Francisco, though, my old man comes out and I'm like, don't skate on the sidewalk around all those people, you guys.
I know. See, that's the thing too. Like now I'd be shaking my fist. But back then I was like, fuck yeah, get out there and just rip it up. It's funny because you were talking about how you transitioned from surf culture into music and stuff like that. The same thing happened to me, and it was partly the skate punk, skate rock culture that got me to discover new bands. And I quickly moved from that into that, like from skating into music.
Right.
It was part of that rebellious thing, skate and destroy. Skate or die, get out there and rip it up, even if the sign says no skateboarding allowed.
Right.
That kind of punk ethos for an angry young man like me really made me happy. there was justification in us shaking fists, us as young people shaking fists at adults as they're shaking fists back at us. And
Right.
now I'm the adult shaking fists. Like on campus where I work, there's kids riding skateboards and scooters around me, and I'm always like, they're gonna hit me one of these days. They're gonna break my ankle or something.
Yeah, I actually have a story about that because
oh no,
we went to your, I don't know if it was an art show or if it was your going away party when you were leaving for New York, when you had the space out by where Ron's shop used to be.
Yep, yeah.
And we were out on the sidewalk and there was some dipshit doing tricks on a skateboard and he lost it and it hit my car and I was really fucking pissed off and I wanted to punch him in the face because that's the kind of shit that has always bugged me. I like the ethos of fuck you cops, fuck you River Park employee or whoever it is, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
But you hit my car and there's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So it's like, I appreciate that, but just don't do it around personal property or people or crowds.
I know the feeling, and it's funny. I look back at myself and I see myself and crazy teens that I see out there doing whatever they want, and I see myself in them, and at the same time I have a perspective now. I don't want somebody's car to get dinged. I saw a kid, it was riding his skateboard. He rode it right in front of a car and he like jumped off his skateboard and the skateboard got ran over by the car, and that kind of irresponsibility just irks me too.
Same thing the other day. I was going and somebody was coming up to a curb, an intersection curb, and lost his, and it went out in the street. And I'm like, dude,
your board's gonna get broken.
Why did you stop so short?
And today, that's like $200. You know, back then it was like $50 to have a full skateboard with all the parts and stuff, and plastic rails and nose whatever. But the boards now are so expensive, and that reminds me, I just on Thursday, this is right after you and I were chatting about the subject matter for today's episode, I was wasting some time after work, stopped by the skate shop in Sierra Vista Mall, which is a pretty cool little skate shop, and they had these new black light color variants of the Powell Peralta, the original Powell Peralta board designs for that original team. And they are absolutely gorgeous. That's $125 for the board alone today. That's $125 at the shop. If you try and order it online, you got shipping on top of that. You've got, secondary sellers. They're already at the $200 mark. So the part of the respect that I feel like skaters today might consider having is just respect for the equipment. But again, this is just like suddenly it's you and me on the porch shaking our hands at this thing, our fists at this thing that for some reason when I was a kid I was like, break that board, doing your thing. It's an affront to the consumer culture of skateboarding if you're getting out there and just ripping it apart. Today I'm like, that's $125, kids. That's a beautiful screen print on there. Do you see how beautiful that is?
Well, and a lot of people do collect them and hand them. And there have been boards. I mean, Super 7 releases.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Decks and a lot of other companies with special art on them from probably Cause. And millions of other
people. These artists. I mean, and a lot of those skaters are artists now. Lance Mountain does art. I don't know why I'm blanking out on other people, but Nadas Kappas got into graphic design for a while, and Tommy Guerrero's a really fantastic musician now. His albums are really good, sort of like spaghetti western music, instrumental stuff. All those old guys are doing really cool stuff.
Did you know that Super 7 released a Steve Caballero figure?
Yes.
Vinyl figure, the dragon.
Oh, vinyl figure?
Yeah, vinyl figure.
I did not see that.
I almost got it. I should have gotten it. It was really cool. It had a removable dragon head, so it's dragon body and then his head, and then it came with they were really cool. They released a few of them.
That's cool. Every once in a while I'll get an email from Super 7 and they'll be like, send us your ideas.
Yeah. You know what my idea was?
What was your idea?
Devo.
Oh, yeah.
It was already in the works, so.
Well, that's the thing. You and I both have had ideas for them, and they've come to fruition. I told them Powell Peralta, you told them Devo, and sure enough, we got reaction figures. And those Powell Peralta reaction figures are really, really cool because they're based on images. They don't look like the guys, but they look like human versions of their board design, their deck design, the artwork.
Yeah.
That's a really brilliant concept. I also suggested that they would do the Melvins, and they have not done that yet, but hopefully one of these days.
The Melvins will go, what? Fuck you.
They might be, they like that shit, so maybe they'll be into it.
It was a fun video. I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah.
As I mentioned to you, I have watched some recently, and it's because of that coming back. I extended my interest into the skate area as well.
There are real cheesy moments in there. So, folks, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen it yet, you're going to watch it and be like, oh my gosh, that whole dialogue sequence is embarrassing. And, well, they're kids, you know, and so you accept it. In a way, there are sequences where they're making fun of skate culture by making up terms.
And Tony was doing Jelly Mambo, sex change burial.
Throwing around dialogue that is influenced by the way skaters talk and making fun of it. So
I'm assuming you're referring to when they're in Bakersfield.
Yes,
and that kid on the porch is talking about ganking and skanking. Yeah, that was the clip I mentioned earlier that I'm definitely going to use. We'll probably insert that right here.
I twanked my knee. Both knees are twanked. Wrist is danked. Twanked and danked. Shoulder is begaged.
I can't even think of all the words that they use, but yeah, I'm glad you're going to insert that here because it's classic. It's a classic sequence.
And to be honest, the acting, quote unquote, is kept to a minimum for one thing.
True.
So that's good. They have interactions with Johnny Rad and amongst themselves. They play to their strengths, I think, and know when to move on. They're not trying to be actors. They're inserting little sections to move the story along to get to the next place to skate.
Yes.
The opening with Garrett Graham, who I was absolutely surprised to see in this, is kind of funny, and then he disappears. I thought, Garrett Graham's in this. He's probably going to show up as the kind of like in, what am I thinking of? The Devo videos that they would release, and they would have Rodney Reuter as like the evil executive. Yes. Johnny Rad is still acting. That guy's an actual working actor.
That's interesting.
They do fine with that. He's doing most of the talking in that scene, so it works okay. And then, like I said, when they're with each other, I think a lot of it has to do with editing and keeping it real short and sweet.
Yes.
Like when they're doing their exercises in that motel room. It's great. It's great.
Smith and 1 and sad and 2 and burial and 3 and walking arrows, guys, and breathe out, tighten those buns, and
it's so corny. It's funny, I've watched interviews with them and most of them are like, that was so embarrassing. I'm okay with it now, but we were so embarrassed that we did that.
It's delightful.
And there were like hardcore skaters that totally made fun of that. Powell Peralta,
I'm sure.
Lighthearted, fun approach to skating. I always felt like there needed to be a place for that. Like, you can't just all be serious and like, fuck you.
Aggro.
There has to be a place for comedy and lightheartedness and good feeling. I've always felt like there has to be, even in my angriest state as a younger guy.
Well, if you're not having fun, what's the point?
Fun should be fun. I mean, you briefly talked about this, the talking heads, toy review shows or movie review shows where people are just angry about what they watched or what they purchased and doing reviews that are just based on the negative approach. If you don't have a full range of perspective, you can't really, it's unrealistic. I always get put off by people who just talk negatively about stuff constantly. Critique is one thing, but not accepting positivity just because you feel like there has to be a serious criticism of society.
It seems joyless to me.
yeah, it's ridiculous. It's not realistic. It's just as bad as what you're critiquing, essentially. My second thing that I'm going to talk about is sort of like how that branched off. My interest in skateboarding branched off into other parts of the culture. But Animal Chin I always have fond memories of that movie and the feeling of skateboarding in the mid-'80s. I'll always think of it fondly. It was a great time.
Like, this one's on you, dude. Who's got the Buku Dolores today?
So what's the next thing on your list, Mark?
Well, it's kind of interesting how this came back. It sort of replaced the same obsessions that I had as a kid when I moved into surf stuff, because at the time I was collecting a lot of different toys, and online I was a part of a number of different message boards that were devoted to toys. So some of it was vintage stuff like the Mego message board, Super 7's message board, Kid Robot, all that stuff, collecting vinyl toys and these artists like Gary Texali and Gary Baseman, Tim Biscuit, designer vinyl, I guess is the term. Yeah. And so I was really heavy into that, and I think I was reaching a burnout point, and I don't even know what brought surf culture back into my mind, but I remember when it did happen, I thought, oh, this is what replaced all of that stuff when I was a kid. And I feel it replacing that. Like, I was conscious of it. I actively want to pursue the design aspect of this and the visual aspect. So I was trying to track down as many surf videos as I could.
Oh, yeah.
It slid into skate videos as well. So I know I want to say I watched a couple of the Bones Brigade videos, and then there was also a documentary about Powell Peralta.
Yes, and that's a great documentary, yeah.
I watched the one about Gator.
Oh, yeah. That's hard. That's a difficult one.
Which was not as fun as the other ones.
Yeah, it's sad.
It led me to looking for TNC and GNS and all that stuff. And at that point, their online presence was more geared toward the boards. And I think there had been a long gap for them of people aren't really buying this stuff, except maybe in surf shops.
Right.
I was like, there's a lack of this available. And I found one website called The Last Wave. They had, and I think they're based in San Luis, they had a bunch of even older things like from Hobie, and there's a couple of different H name surf companies, but the graphics were like more like 50s and 60s.
Oh, yeah.
And so I started looking at all that stuff, and then finding out who the artists were and looking them up online, and then bought a couple of shirts with old graphics. They're not vintage shirts, but old graphics that those companies used back then. And then I found Birdwell Beach Britches.
Oh, yeah.
Which I had never heard of before. Really dug the little funny logo that they had of a surfboard and surf.
Yeah, I love it. The font is great.
Yeah, and so bought a shirt from them, and then was looking at their trunks to buy, but they're really expensive.
No, that's too bad.
They're like $60 to $70 something, handmade in San Clemente, California.
Yeah,
real heavy duty nylon and double stitch, all that stuff.
We went into the Van store yesterday, and swim trunks are $80.
Yeah.
So that's where we are.
And checkerboard Vans slip-ons are $65 for a pair. And I need a new pair.
How much do you smoke?
This will be a little demonstration of that. Listen up. That was my skull. I'm so wasted.
Unless you find them on clearance for $45, right? I mean,
right.
That's always how I've gotten my Van slip-ons, is in clearance, because I just Converse now. They're up there in price too. The Converse All-Stars, the Chuck Taylors.
I passed on the trunks at the time. It became an all-consuming interest again. And of course, at this time, we've always gone to the coast. We've always gone to the San Luis Obispo area, Pismo, Morro Bay. My parents used to have a little mobile home at one of the parks in Morro Bay.
Yeah.
They are surf towns.
Oh, yeah.
We would go to the different surf shops in San Luis, of course, Wavelengths in Morro Bay, and I would just pour through those shirts. Ended up looking up Mr. Zoggs online.
Oh, yeah.
Bought a shirt, a short sleeve t-shirt, and then at some point in there, watched Fast Times again. I was like, I gotta get that Spicoli shirt.
Why do you shamelessly waste my time like this?
I don't know.
the long sleeve red shirt with the sex wax on the front and the star and the blah and the back. And it's a little different than the movie version, because in that the logo on the back is solid black, and this one it's white and black. I have that and a bunch of other shirts from Wavelengths and this and that and everything else. It's tapered off again, but anytime we haven't been, of course, I think since before the pandemic, but I'm kind of looking forward to getting back over to the coast and checking out the warehouse, because we don't have a Wavelengths here anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah, they closed a few years back. They had moved out to River Park, and they were there for about 8 years or something like that, and then maybe even longer. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, way longer than that, because I was going over there before I even met Carlita.
Oh, okay.
And that was 1999.
So the Wavelengths I used to go to was when they were by Circuit City, and I think they started out as being called SBI Board Shop, and then they turned into Wavelengths. I think that's how it goes.
It's a combination of the two.
Yeah.
They're actually separate places. So SBI is like the skateboard shop, and Wavelengths is it's the surf stuff.
My recollection is when they were by Circuit City on Shaw and Blackstone in Fresno, it was a small shop. So I think they were just trying to figure out how they would label themselves as a board shop or as a surf clothing shop. That was late 80s, and it was a really cool little corner, and people would be skating out in the parking lot and getting in trouble. And we were talking before we started recording today about how maybe Sunnyside Surf might be related to Wavelengths and SBI.
I think that shop turned into Wavelengths / SBI at some point. I don't think they were like partnered up or anything. When Sunnyside went out of business at some point, Wavelengths and or SBI came in, and then either had a second shop up there or totally moved up there. I don't remember anything about that shop over there, because I used to go to the Tower Records over there all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't recall ever seeing, because it was probably just completely left my interest at that point. I don't remember stepping foot into it until it was over in River Park.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm glad it still exists over in Morro Bay. For a while there in Morro Bay, you could go to the Wavelengths, you could go to the Skateboard History Museum.
Oh, yeah, the museum. Yep.
But that's closed now, unfortunately. Yep. But that was we went there once, and I think we stayed there for a full hour, and it's like the size of a room, essentially. Mm-hmm. But it was so cool to see all the history of skateboards and skate culture and all the different experiments that people had tried to make successful as far as skating goes. And
I've got a shirt from there.
Yeah, I got a bumper sticker still on the back of our truck right next to Wake Up Heavy.
The interest really, again, was more focused on the aesthetics of the designs. I did eventually get some Birdwell beach britches because they changed ownership and were going to change the design of the shorts a little bit and have all new item numbers and stuff. So they basically did a dead stock sale.
Oh, okay.
Where
there you go.
I think they were $10.
Ooh.
I want to say you gave your size, and I think you just got what they sent.
Oh.
So I got a pair, and they're shorter than most swim trunks. See, they're not really super short like back when we were kids.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. And then they did it again, and I think at that point you could pick the style you wanted and the size. You wouldn't get to pick the color or anything like that. I did it again and got another pair that are really long and really wide legged, and I just passed those off to my nephew because they're just so, it's like wearing a parachute bottoms or something.
Awesome.
I think they're $80 something at this point. They should last you a lifetime if you can fit into them for the rest of your life. So
that's true.
I didn't think I was going to be able to fit into the ones I had, but we went swimming last weekend and they fit fine.
He's gonna kill you and he's gonna kill me. He's gonna kill us.
Hey man, just be glad I had fast reflexes.
But brother's gonna shit.
Make up your mind, dude. Is he gonna shit or is he gonna kill us?
First he's gonna shit, then he's gonna kill us.
Relax. All right? My old man, he's a television repairman. Got this ultimate set of tools. I can fix it.
That's a good transition to the second part of mine. I'm continuing to talk about skate culture a little bit here, but one of the things that I absolutely loved about skate culture in the mid to late 80s was Thrasher magazine. And I love the articles and all that stuff, but primarily it was for me, it was in the ads. That's where I learned about Vision streetwear shoes, which I felt like were the coolest skate shoes ever. One of the greatest designs. Speaking of Birdwell being a great logo design and all those other logos being cool, the Vision streetwear one was very cool and a little bit edgier than Powell Peralta. And I also learned about skate punk and skate rock through Thrasher magazine, discovered bands like JFA and The Faction. The Faction is the band that did the song Skate and Destroy. And then other bands like Suicidal Tendencies and those early Red Hot Chili Peppers albums and Butthole Surfers and The Misfits and that whole punk and experimental rock, edgier side would be, I guess, termed as what evolved into alternative rock later on, I guess. Became more of a divided genre, punk and alternative rock and metal. But back then it felt like they were all coming from the same place. They would advertise shows where you could see bands that you would normally not see play together just because there would also be skaters there. And I love that you could be into punk, you could be into metal, and you could be into weird shit like Butthole Surfers and be a skater and still feel like you're part of a family. And those advertisements are really what kind of made that real, is that they would advertise records by these different bands. And there were these compilation albums that Thrasher put out called Skate Rock. And the first 3 volumes, you could order them, you could mail away and get them on cassette. And they were just like photocopied covers. And they were so cool. I never mailed away anything, but I had a friend who had one. And Thrasher magazine is how I really got immersed in the fashion of skating, and I find that coincides quite well with your surf fashion theme here. Thrasher magazine started in 1981. I didn't start reading those magazines until 84, 85, and eventually around 86 got a brief subscription to it. And there was a very natural transition for me from the late 80s into early 90s. Alternative rock and grunge culture, I feel like, is directly stemmed from the skate rock and skate punk culture in a lot of ways. And to this day, about once a year, I'll go and I'll look up old skate ads in Thrasher magazines online. There's tons and tons of images when you just do a Google image search of those advertisements. And like you said about surfing magazine, like you can't, like if you look at a cover of it, it doesn't really grab your attention or remind you of a particular thing.
Yeah, they're kind of all the same thing.
Yeah, same thing with Thrasher.
Somebody surfing.
Yeah, somebody skating. Same thing with Thrasher, although there are a couple covers that stand out in my mind. But mainly those advertisements, it's kind of like with comic books. The advertisements were often repeated in each issue. And so they really are ingrained in my subconscious. I can see the layout, those skateboard shop advertisements where you could order a fully assembled board or you could order just the deck, and the way they were laid out on the page, combining Vision and Santa Cruz and Powell Peralta and all these different companies together on one page. You could look at the designs and dream about having your favorite design. And those ads really bring back memories for me. It's funny how so often in Cambridge and with Sean here, where it comes back to consumer culture and how the power of advertising really creates, interestingly enough, fond memories for us. It was less about the articles, more about the advertising for me and Thrasher.
I think a lot of the advertising, why it sticks out so much, the repetitiveness of it, like you say, every issue of a comic book or any genre related magazine is going to have, you're going to see the same stuff over and over again. And then when you see a new ad, it's like, oh, well, that's interesting. But you probably didn't get most of the stuff that you saw advertised.
Definitely not.
But you had a longing for it. And I think that longing for those things you saw advertised that you really were interested in is what carries over to now.
100%. Images of skaters with mohawks or with torn t-shirts and wearing Converse All-Stars, and I would long for that look. Seeing those Vision Streetwear shoes in the magazine, I was like, oh my God, those shoes, they're unlike anything I've ever seen before. That has to be the coolest thing ever. And you put it in this category in your brain of like, I may never have this thing. And sure enough, a couple weeks later, you're breaking into the Fresno High campus to skate with your friends, and you see other skaters out there wearing those Vision Streetwear shoes with a mohawk and a torn t-shirt, and you're like, oh, damn it. That's kind of magic, really. You know, it teaches us to dream and to be imaginative and have goals and learn how to differentiate between realistic and unrealistic goals. And I think it's probably necessary, even though people who might hate capitalism might argue otherwise.
Our show wouldn't exist without all those fond memories.
That's very true. Very true. We probably wouldn't be who we are without all that stuff to dream about. Not only have we accomplished our topics for discussion, we've also talked about locations.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. We didn't save locations to the end. They're enmeshed in our subject matters for today. Mark, what do you have coming up for you? Anything exciting?
Hope to get Cleo on a recording of Wake Up Heavy soon here, since she's done with summer school. So look for that. Maybe around the time that this is out, there will be one or two of those available over at wakeupheavy.com or weirdingwaymedia.com.
You and the family went to see Asteroid City. I'd be interested to hear what your perspectives are on that one.
No, we didn't go see it. It's gone from theaters.
Oh, you tried to go see it?
No.
Oh.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think I misinterpreted a post.
Okay. We watched it last night.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So we may talk about that and some other Wes Anderson movies. We'll see.
Cool. I'd like to hear your perspectives on that one.
Yeah.
Our family's divided on what we like about it, what we don't like about it.
Yeah. You know what? One thing I wanted to mention, you're talking about music and all that, and I noticed a name in the Animal Chin credits. Dennis Dragon does the music, and he was one part of the Surf Punks. I don't know if you're familiar with them at all.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with him, but I'm familiar with the Surf Punks.
My sister and I had, I think it was their second album when we were younger, probably around this time. That may have played a part in all this too, of my thing, because that cover is just like neon all over the place, checkerboard vans.
Yes.
So that combined with Fast Times are the two things that really struck me.
Too big for her top. When are those strings gonna pop? Distracting all the surfers, they forget about the tubes. No time for waves, let's talk about those boobs.
I think it said music supervisor.
Yeah.
In his credit, so
that makes sense.
Tracking down the music for the video. But he's also, interestingly enough, is he the brother of? He's related to Captain and Tennille.
Oh.
That dragon. That's Daryl Dragon.
Oh.
This is Dennis Dragon. So
that's weird. That's interesting.
I don't know if they're brothers or cousins or...
Daryl and Dennis Dragon are brothers.
Fascinating. Connections, right?
Yeah.
And also, folks, if you haven't seen Animal Chin, the music is one of the most mysterious and strange aspects of that film. There are times where you would expect a certain kind of music with skate videos that you hear snippets of in the movie, but most of the time the music is like not what you would expect from a skate video. Synthy prog rock stuff. There's some tinny jazzy things. It's like it's really hard to pin down what they were trying to accomplish with the audio aesthetic in that movie. It's not, I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's definitely unique.
And it is on YouTube, as are a number of the Powell Peralta videos.
Oh yeah.
they're on there through the Powell Peralta site. They have
That's
their own
right.
page.
You can watch all their videos on their own page.
And you don't have to feel bad about it because they put them up.
Exactly. Yep. It's very cool. Yeah. So you could find me on YouTube under Skelevator. Try to put interesting things over there occasionally. Also, Toy Frenzy is on Thursday evenings. We solely talk about toys. Almost 95% of the time we talk about Masters of the Universe stuff. As Mark mentioned earlier, definitely, folks, go over and check out weirdingwaymedia.com. Get out there and rip it up. Tear it apart. Get your skateboard. Don't hurt yourself. Go learn how to surf.
And watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High if you never have.
You see that sign?
No shirt, no shoes, no dice.
Right.
That's right. And watch The Search for Animal Chin if you never have, too. Both are classics. Classic California movies.
Twanked and danked.
Oh, we are going to be taking a hiatus.
Yes.
So no September episode, but we will be back in October with something new and exciting for you all.
That's right. Well, all right, Mark, this has been a pleasure. It's always fun talking to you.
Yeah, and we'll see you all in October.
In the fall.
Until then, take it easy.
Bye-bye.
Yes?
Yeah, I'm registered in this class.
What class?
This is U.S. history. See the globe right there.
Really?
Hey, may I come in?
Oh, please. I get so lonely when I hear that third attendance bell ring and all my kids are not here.
Sorry I'm late. It's just like this new schedule's totally confusing. Yeah, I know that, dude.
Mr. Spicoli.
That's the name they gave me. Hey, you're ripping my card.
Yeah.
Hey, bud, what's your problem?
No problem at all. I think you know where the front office is.
You dick!
What? Hanging out around the town with the bad boy crowd. Going by the mall staircase where we're not allowed. Kicking flips, popping wheelies. When we're feeling bored. Only tough guys know how to ride the Hot Rod skateboard. Hi, I'm Dr. Steve Brule. Today we're going to do something that is my favorite show yet. Skateboards. If you don't know about it, too bad. Get the hell off the show now. Only cool guys. If you don't know about skateboards, please stay also. It'd be fun because they're fun. Let's check it out.
Check it out. My beach. My chips. My whiz.
Cambridge and with Sean is a Weirding Way Media podcast.